Hello everyone, I'm Babli Jonathan and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. The first vice president of the Social Democratic Front and candidate of the party for the October 7, 2018 presidential election says he will eliminate the National School of Administration and Magistracy, ENAM, and he will also make education free and obligatory from nursery through primary to the first cycle of secondary education. These are some of the highlights of his political program, which he is presenting right now to the press here in the political economic capital of the country, Douala. And we shall equally show you the deplorable state of some roads here in the economic capital, Douala, as well as in Kongsamba in the Mungo Division, littoral region of the country. Folks, we are top stories. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this edition of the news. As indicated in the headline, the candidate of the Social Democratic Front SDF political party for the October 7, 2018 presidential election is at the moment presenting his political program to the press here in the country's economic capital, Douala. And among some of the highlights of his political program, he has said that he's going to scrap off the National School of Administration and Magistracy, ENAM. If at all he is elected president of the country, he will equally make education free and obligatory for all from nursery through primary right up to the first cycle of secondary education, and he will maintain, he will take the country back to the federal system of government, but moving the federal system from the 2 states that was, as it was the case in the past, to a 10-state federal system based on the 10 regions of the country existing at the moment. He equally stated that he will establish the country's currency sovereignty, and he equally indicated to the press that he will he equally talked on the form of the state, as I indicated earlier, notably the federal system of government, and he will raise the minimum salary of Cameroonians to 160,000 francs CFA. And talking about the form of the state, this is what O.C. Joshua said in an earlier press statement. Take a listen. O.C. Joshua, first vice president of the Social Democratic Front and one of the 9 candidates for the October 7, 2018 presidential election in Cameroon, earlier indicated that the only solution to the crisis rocking the 2 regions of Cameroon, the 2 Anglophone regions, Northwest and Southwest regions, as well as other problems rocking the country, is going back to the federal system of government. This is what he said.
Saying is that Cameroonian refugees are not in refugee camps because they wish to go on a holiday. They are out there because the state of Cameroon was unable to guarantee their physical integrity wherever they were. So these people have a full right to vote. Whether they now come out and vote or not is a secondary issue. You can be here in Accra and you refuse to go and vote for whatever reason. Okay? Just as you can be in a refugee camp and you refuse to go and vote for whatever reason. But it shouldn't happen that because you are a refugee, you are not allowed to vote. That is what we are fighting against, and we'll do everything possible for ELECAM to respect all the international instruments in place that oblige it to organize a vote wherever the refugees are. So that is our point. If they now come out and vote or not is another issue. But let me just hang another position on your question, which you didn't ask. I want to make you understand in very clear terms that the only way for the crisis going on in the Southwest and the Northwest to come to an end is to vote for a change on the 7th of October. Why? Because there is no problem in Batibo. There is no problem in Muyuka. The problem is in Etudi. The violence is being The violence is being perpetrated on the people in the southwest and the northwest regions of Cameroon, but the political problem that causes this violence is in Etudi. And if you don't change the person sitting in Etudi, you are not helping to solve the problem in the northwest and the southwest. And when you are doing that, do it with someone who understands the problem, who understands why this issue is happening, and with someone who in his program has the solution to that problem. Because the solution to that problem is federalism, and that's what I stand for.
O.C. Joshua, first vice president of the main opposition political party in Cameroon and flag bearer of the party at the October 7, 2018 presidential election, equally told the press that if he is elected president of the Republic of Cameroon, he will introduce a system of basic healthcare coverage to the tune of 500,000 francs CFA per household, running through a period of 1 year. That is 1,000 francs CFA per person per month. And he equally indicated that he will introduce a land reform that will make it possible for each family to own a land, for each Cameroonian family to own a land. These are just some of the highlights of his political program, which he is at the moment presenting to the press here in the economic capital of the Republic of Cameroon. And of course, we'll be coming back to greater details on these in this newscast in a short while. And of course, greater details will be given to you in a special program, Verity and Fast Tonight, that will be starting at 9 p.m. on Equinoxe television. You have all the details concerning the political program of Joshua O.C. tonight on Equinoxe television. In a short while, we'll be coming back to O.C. Joshua concerning what he said, and we should equally indicate it that earlier in another press statement, he said that he is running for this election, knowing fully well that the electoral code at the moment is not the best, but he believes that the election can be transparent and, of course, fair if efforts are made by the Social Democratic Front and other political parties of the opposition. Take a listen to what he said. We'll be coming back to this in a short while. Now we're going to talk about some roads, notably in the Douala 4 municipality. There are several roads in that part of Cameroon's economic capital which are in a very deplorable state, and Smart Njikan Gabriel paints the picture in this report.
The inhabitants of the Douala 4 municipality have become prisoners as a result of the heavy rains causing the rapid degradation of the road network. At the Boadibo neighborhood, this secondary route leading to Bikoko and could serve in case of the blockage of the Bikoko stretch of road is rapidly decaying.
People are really suffering here in the Boadibo quarter because the situation of the road is too bad and we are suffering enough. The motor drivers are taking us 500 francs now to take us from Carrefour Music to Boadibo or to Boadibo to Carrefour Music, and we are really suffering about it. Apart from the poor state of the roads, water is also a very key problem. We people are suffering enough in this quarter because of water. The water we drink here is not potable, it's not good to drink, and people are going to the hospital all the time because the children are drinking dirty waters, spending money that we don't even have now. Things are not as tough, and we don't even have the one to eat before taking children to the hospital. So please, to the leaders of the country, we need you people to see into it. Please, we need water. We can be without eating, but we can't be without water. At Minkwele, the access road is impracticable, with road users barely struggling to pass due to the terrible state of the roads. Not too far from Minkwele at Bojongo, a section of the third road is rapidly deteriorating, causing difficulties in movement. Apart from the road network, the premises of the government primary school Minkwele has been engulfed by water, putting doubts on the reopening of the new school year for pupils of this institution.
The inhabitants of Bojongo, Minkwele, Buadibo are now waiting on the government for a quick reaction, particularly on the poor network of roads.
Now we're coming back on some of the major highlights of the manifesto of the Social Democratic Front SDF candidate for the upcoming presidential election. This is an extract selected by reporter for me, Armstrong Sander. Take a listen.
School scholarships again for those children coming from families that have the biggest economic difficulties. We will introduce a effective free, but mandatory education in the public schools in Cameroon up to the first cycle of secondary schooling. We'll introduce an education program 2.0 to develop infrastructure as well as the IT capacity in our educational system. We will immediately close the school called Inam. We will stop all fixed police barriers all over the national territory. We will integrate the vigilant committees present today in the northern part of the country and fighting against Boko Haram into the forces of law and order. We will put in place a 2-round presidential election with a single ballot and a mandate of 5 years. We will put in place a national conference for reconciliation, truth, and reparation, as well as a program to disarm and demobilize and reinsert Cameroonians who are in need. We will delocalize the capital of the Central region into another locality of the Central region. We will promote the delocalization of certain administrations into the regions where they are best needed. We will establish our monetary sovereignty. We will reduce the size of government to 20 departments. We'll actively promote the Transaqua project, which is meant to refill Lake Chad with water and all that follows. We will install a universal national service for our youth. And finally, we will propose the candidature of Cameroon to co-host with other African nations the 2030 World Cup. So those are the 24 strong measures that I was reading directly from my French copy, so I'm sorry about that because the team didn't bring in the English version for the lecture to be fluent. So thank you very much, and Zakecha and I stand available for any questions.
Thank you very much.
Equinoxe Television will be taking you into the nooks and crannies of O.C. Joshua's political program tonight, as from 9 p.m. he will be facing three veteran journalists of Equinoxe Television in Verite and Fast. Stay with us. And of course, we now take you to Nkong-Samba, as earlier indicated in the top stories, to show you the deplorable state of some roads in that part of the Mongo division of the littoral region of Cameroon. Innocent has more.
Nkong-Samba, considered by its population years back as the third largest city in Cameroon, colorful, attractive and friendly, is now a disgraceful town. It has gone wide, stinks and has unfriendly characteristics.
Faut voir que Nkong-Samba à l'époque était une ville, une vraie ville.
This inhabitant notes Nkong-Samba was a real cosmopolitan town, but many are baffled of what is happening today as the town loses its integrity.
Eh bien, ceux de quartier se débrouillent.
Roads are impassable due to their degraded state. They are either muddy, rugged, broken, or filled with craters, which eventually turn to small lakes during the rainy season. Streets that had beautiful features are now colored with stinky heaps of garbage.
On ne sait plus si c'est une poubelle ou c'est des toilettes publiques. Vraiment, on ne comprend rien.
Many, according to some inhabitants, have died of intoxication.
Les hommes sont morts parce de cette misère.
Waste materials dumped carelessly block gutters and drainage channels, provoking frequent inundations during rainfall and homes of people invaded by water.
When rainfall, water come and spoil all things where you buy.
Wild bushes colonized the public cemetery, ceremonial ground, and a good section of the town, favoring insecurity. Scrapped vehicles are spotted at all angles of the town of Kongsamba. The population demanded the government delegates to the Kongsamba City Council to open his eyes and be serious with his responsibilities to regain the positive public image and integrity of the town.
The Imam of the Limbe Central Mosque in the southwest region of Cameroon has called on Allah to intervene and bring the deepening Anglophone crisis to an end. This was yesterday during the celebration of the Feast of the Ram, and fellow Christians and of course Muslims came together and prayed for peace to return in the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions of the country. Limbe-based correspondent Davidson Maimo reports.
Here, Feast of Tabaski focused on peace, reconciliation and participation in the development of the nation and national unity. In his message, the Imam of the Central Mosque 2, Kowuto Isa, with prayers taking place at the Limbe Community Field, the Imam called on the Muslims to shun recalcitrant behavior that destroy the image of the state, participate in the upcoming presidential elections.
Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. Loving our country and contributing to its prosperity is a religious requirement. Beloved brothers and sisters, October 2018 is the presidential election, which is a great moment for any nation. It is a great opportunity to us to contribute to the growth of our country by choosing the person who will lead our nation to prosperity.
On his part, the Imam of the Central Mosque, Muhammadu Mustafa, without missing word, beseeched Almighty Allah to intervene in the ongoing Anglophone crisis.
The message of today's festival, asking Almighty Allah to assist Southwest and Northwest in particular, and the nation in general. We really seek Almighty Allah to assist us now and now.
Muslim faithfuls in Limbe see the messages this year is a stitch in time.
The message is a message of forgiveness, a message of unity, a message of tolerance. Because everyone, together we can build this nation, and together we can make this nation better. Only if everyone decides to put the spear, the stone, or the guns behind and look forward for a better future.
The Fako administration, particularly that of Limbe municipality, joined the Muslims in both prayer grounds, not just to show government commitment in supporting the Muslims, but equally to participate in the special worship service of Almighty Allah.
More than 2 million pilgrims have been throwing pebbles at a giant wall in the symbolic stoning of the devil, and this is a ceremony that is taking place. It is the riskiest stage of the annual Hajj pilgrimage taking place in Saudi Arabia, where hundreds died 3 years ago. Katsi, your news.
More than 2 million Muslim pilgrims hurled pebbles at a giant wall in a symbolic stoning of the devil on Tuesday. It's the riskiest stage of the annual Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia, where hundreds died in a crush 3 years ago. Clad in white robes signifying a state of purity, men and women from 165 countries perform the ritual from a 3-story bridge erected to ease congestion after earlier stampedes. The area was redesigned after stampedes in 2004 and 2006 killed hundreds of pilgrims. They'll return to the bridge over the next 2 days for more stoning before returning to Mecca to pray at the Grand Mosque at the end of Hajj.
Take the appointment with OC Joshua on Equinoxe television at 9 p.m. Today, we're going to be taking you into the nooks and crannies of his political program, a critical scrutiny of his political program by 3 senior journalists of Equinoxe television in verity and fast. That's it for this edition of the news on Equinoxe television. Do stay with us.